Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Emor. It's also Lag BaOmer, so Freilich and Lag BaOmer. I would like to jump right in to get to our question for the Shabbos table this week. In the middle of the Parsha, the fifth Aliyah, we're talking about the Yom Tov of Rosh Hashanah. And the Pasuk says, Dabro b'nei Yisrael, speak to the Yidden, Leimar b'chodesh hashvi b'echad b'chodesh, first day, 7th month. That's the first day of Tishrei. Yilachem Shabbosoin. It will be for you a day of rest, Shabbosoin. Zichron Shura, a remembrance of Shura, Mikra Kodesh. Okay, that's what it says. It's going to be a Shabbosoin and a Zichron Shura. Chazal learn out from here that in addition to there being a negative commandment, a prohibition against violating Yom Tov, doing malacha on Yom Tov, there's also a mitzvah asay Shabbosoin, to rest. So when a person does not do malacha the entire Yom Tov, he's makayim the lois to say, he doesn't violate, I should say, the lois to say the negative commandment, and he also fulfills this positive commandment of Shabbos. Now the Netziv of Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin Zeichet Tzadik L'Vracha in his Pirush Erek Dover points out that Shabbosoin is mentioned by many, if not all, the Yom Tovim, but it's specifically by Rosh Hashanah that we learn out the source that it's a mitzvah asay. In the other Yom Tovim, all we see is an inyan of resting, but that it's an actual mitzvah. It's dafki here where it says Yihya lachem Shabbosoin. It should be for you a Shabbosoin. Says the Netziv, that's a lashon tzivoy, that's a command. So the Torah in Rosh Hashanah is commanding us rest on Rosh Hashanah, and from there we learn to all the Yom Tovim that there's an inyan, there's a mitzvah asay to rest. Here come the questions if you're ready for them. Get a pen and paper. If it's not, get a pen and paper. Question number one is, why Rosh Hashanah? Why specifically by Rosh Hashanah does the Torah choose to teach us this mitzvah of Shabbosoin? It could have been Pesach, could have been Sukkot. Why Rosh Hashanah? Number two, asks the Netziv, what's the Zichron Shura? It's a Yom Shura. It's a day of blowing the shofar. Why is Zichron Shura? We know what the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah. When Shabbos falls out, and Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbos, but Netziv is going to offer his pshat, I'll keep pshat. And number three, why is it called the Yom Shruah? The Gemara says that there's with every Shruah, ain't Shruah b'li Tkiyah. Every Shruah has to come with Tkiyah, and we actually blow on Rosh Hashanah, Tkiyah, Shruah, Tkiyah. It's 2 Tkiyahs, a Shruah sandwich. So why is it called the Yom Shruah more than a Yom Tkiyah? What's called the Yom Shruah Tkiyah? 3 questions for the Shabbos table. Number one, why does the Torah choose to teach us this mitzvah of Shabbosoin of resting, specifically in Rosh Hashanah? Number two, why is it called Zichron, the remembrance of Shura? Should be called Yom Shura. And number three, why is it called Yom Shura to the exclusion of Yom Tkiyah? Why is the Shura more important than the Tkiyah? Ask these 3 questions at the Shabbos table, then don't say a word. Let's see what the Olam has to say. After everyone's finished giving their answers, you can share with them the Netziv's pshat. And this is what the Netziv says. He says, the Pasuk is hinting, is being around this, to Ikr Tachlis HaMitzvah. What's the point of the mitzvah of the Shabbos? Says the Netziv, on days of Simcha, it points out in Parshas Ba'alois, when it talks about when they used to blow the shofar, the chatzotzos, on days of Simcha, the Ikr blast that they blew in the shofar was the Tkiyah. The Tkiyah symbolizes Simcha, but they also blew a Trua, ain't Tkiyah below Trua, because you have to temper the Simcha with a little bit of Trua is the Tkiyah of crying. It's the crying. It's the Tsar. So the Tkiyah is the strong, straight blast. That's Simcha. The Trua is the broken, crying blast. So on a Simcha-dik day, while the Iker Tkiyah, the Iker shofar blast is the Tkiyah, that's the Simcha, we must temper it with a Trua. To be more ourselves, says the Netziv, Lishmor atzmo shlo yeh achar simcha v'tugla. We get carried away with Simcha, it's never a good thing. Like the Gemara says in Kiddushin, the worst part of the year is the Regel. And that's why we have Bahab. Those 3 days after Pesach and Sukkot, we have Bahab. Because we have to do tshuva for the Averis and Chas Shalom were perpetrated on Yom Tov. Too much Simcha is not a good thing. A very chashuv lesson in life. Even in the Zman of Simcha, under the chuppah, we break the glass, remember Yerushalayim. It's important to always keep one's mind, balanced and not be overboard, not become extreme. The same thing is on a Yom Rosh on the Chama, when they went out to war, it was a Yom Shura. So too Rosh Hashanah is a serious day of din, of judgment. It's a Yom Shura. At the same time, we also have to blow the Tkiyah. Why? We have to blow the Tkiyah to remind us not to be misyayish. We're very serious. It's a very serious day, very serious time of year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. But at the end of the day, Hashem loves us. Hashem is going to redeem us. So we have to, lesson number one is we have to temper things. It's called the Yom Trua, Rosh Hashanah. Avada is also a tkiyah, but the ikar flavor of the day is that of din, that of seriousness. At the same time, there has to be a simcha, knowing that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to save us. That's the answer to question number 3, really. Why is it called Yom Trua, not Yom Trua? He goes on to say, and it's not just a Yom Trua, it's a Zichron Trua. It's important for a person to reflect on the day. It's not for no reason that it's called Yom Trua. It's important that it's on our minds. It's called Zichron Trua to teach us we have to be thinking about the fact this is a judgment day. Says the Netziv, the mitzvah of Shabboson, according to this Parshas Pshat that Netziv is saying, the mitzvah of Shabboson is to teach us to reflect. The halachic definition of Shabboson means to not do malacha, to rest in malacha. The Netziv is understanding it also to mean a time of reflection. Says the Netziv, Tikhu lechem eize shah Shabboson. Take a moment of the day of Rosh Hashanah for Shabboson, mikol malacha ve'inyan. Don't do malacha, don't be involved in anything. Rak lachshoy ve'inyan hayoim shu zichron shua. Think about the day there's a zichron shua. So Shabboson comes right before Zichron Shua. The Torah is telling us, specifically in Rosh Hashanah, which is our Yom Hadin, our whole existence depends on Rosh Hashanah. The Netziv is telling us, the Torah is telling us that we have to take a moment to reflect on what this day is about. So that's why Dafkin Rosh Hashanah, Shabboson is being taught to us, the mitzvah of Shabboson, because it's most important, we can argue, or it's a primary importance on Rosh Hashanah to take that time of Shabboson for the Zichron Shua, to remember what the inyan of the day is. And the truth is, this is a tremendous lesson for us throughout our lives, that we go through different periods of time, we go through Yom Tovim, we have to stop and reflect. We can't just slide through life and through its different situations. It's always important to take a time out. The idea of Shabboson and Zichron Shua is teaching us that don't just get, busy with the bonfire and the different Torah and the kumzitz and Lag BaOmer comes and goes. Don't just get busy with the decorating the house with flowers and the cheesecake and the learning online, which is also, we have to, it's great. But realize, Shavuos is man matan Torah, Pesach is man Cher Tisha B'Av is man to misabel l'churban habayis. It's very important to take time in every important part of our yearly cycle or part of our lives to think for a second on Shabbos, to think and stop. Have that Shabboson, have that Zichron Shua, we should all be zoiche. To think, to take a time out, to reflect, to really understand what these days mean and how they can better our lives and bring us close to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And with that, we should be zoiche to live life the way it should be lived. Have a wonderful Shabbos.